Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Gallant Views Morning News for Wednesday, the 28th of August 2024. My name's Colin, and I'm delighted to be joined again by David. How are you doing this morning, mate?
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. Thanks for having me back. How's you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Bit of a weird morning. We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, we've got George's Hagi in the newspapers, the Rangers board arguing with each other, and Oasis are doing a UK tour. Like, all that's missing is Rangers signing 52 players in the transfer window.
I know. The main thing that we're hoping to happen remains elusive. But at least we can. At least we've got other subjects to fall back on.
Absolutely. So let's start with the transfer rumours. There's a couple of outgoing rumours. Sky Sports last night reported that Birmingham City are close to taking Scott Wright from Rangers on a permanent deal. I don't know what's going on down in Birmingham, but Birmingham City will be my new English team if they are going to take Ben Davies and Scott Wright in the one season, David. And in all honesty, if I'm being fair, Scott Wright will do a decent job in the championship level. I fully believe that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it's a move that makes sense for all parties. Birmingham at the level they're at, Scott Wright will be excellent there. They've already took Ben Davies from us. I mean, if they want Cantwell, they might as well put a bid in for him as well. But you're right. I'm thinking that I've never really paid Birmingham City much, I suppose. But I'm thinking maybe now I'll be cheering them on, shall we say, if these deals go through.
The interesting point about this is a permanent move, which really, really does suit us, because the Ben Davies one is just a loan. There's no option to buy in the contract or anything, but a permanent move for Scott Wright, it's that does help us tenfold, just getting somebody permanently off the books.
It does, definitely. I think with the Ben Davies thing, I mean, I'm not saying it's a certainty that he'll become permanent at Birmingham, but he'll put himself in the shop window. He'll be at a level that he's more than comfortable playing at. And, if Birmingham don't take him, then I think somebody will. But with Scott Wright, not having that uncertainty is a massive bonus. I don't know what the fee is. I'm presuming, I think the last time it was touted for him, it was 600 grand to Sheffield Wednesday. So presuming it's in the same ballpark, and I don't think his wages, massive wages. I don't think he's one of the main issues with the wage bill. But to get someone out who, he's not favoured by the support, and I think the manager plays him out of necessity rather than ability. I think it'll be a good move for him. He'll get regular game time. It's at a level that he's capable of performing at, the same as Davies, I guess. And it just it's a clean break rather than it hanging over us that he might return. So it makes total sense to me if it's a legit story.
Yeah, and for the player's point of view, you've mentioned it as well. He'll get a good few years in the Championship. There's no doubt about it. He's 27 as well. He'll be wanting to be playing regular football too. And Scott Wright's a funny one because it's easy to get angry at him, but I think he's done the best that he can. He's just not good enough for Rangers, really. It's just, we shouldn't have signed him. We shouldn't have kept him for so long. Another rumour that's been spiralling about over the last 24 hours is that Blackburn Rovers have started conversations with Rangers overtaking Todd Cantwell. So this is at the very, very early stages, but similar to Scott Wright, this is a little bit less concrete than Scott Wright. Obviously, the Scott Wright one was reported in Sky. It's kind of been mixed sources with the Cantwell one, but I think this makes sense for all parties. Todd Cantwell isn't going to get a Premiership team. Blackburn, they're they may be aiming for the playoffs this year, the top 10 at least. I think the Todd Campbell that we were all buzzing about when we signed him is the Todd Campbell who set the head of the light for Norwich in the Championship. We know this is a league he can thrive in, so I think he should be looking to. I don't think he'll have any issues with moving to Blackburn. Blackburn would have it makes sense for them to sign them. Rangers want them off the books. My only worry is what will the fee be here? And well, I suppose I'll put it to you, David. Can we be worried about the fee, or should we just get his wages off the book?
We should be worried about the fee because it shouldn't matter that he wants away. It should matter that he has that ability to play at being generous, a playoff challenging championship team. I think he's more than capable of playing there, as long as he doesn't start his pish, basically. He can more than able, fit in at Blackburn or similar. With the fee, I do think it's, as I said this morning, the guys in our group chat, I said the fee is, it's a poxy fee if it's accurate. 500 grand is, it's low ball, but I think with the urgency to get him at the club, I think we're going to be. I don't think we're going to be too difficult to deal with. Under different circumstances, if he wasn't, being a tip for a lot of the pre-season, then he would have commanded a much larger fee. But he has been a tip, and we need to bear the brunt of it on terms of the fee. I think he's on a decent wage, so that's a positive. That's a good saving. But the fee should be a lot higher than the reported 500. I'm not getting into like 4 or 5 million territory, but we should be able to ask for 2 million for him. But circumstances dictate that it probably won't happen. I don't know what Blackburn's financial situation is, but if they're willing to cover his wages and pay something, then call it quits and move on.
I don't think we should be looking to make a massive profit. I don't think that's realistic, but 7 figures at least should be what we're looking at, or at least a sell-on fee. But I'd like to think that'd be included anyway. But no, we'll wait and see. I think Rangers can't be too difficult because we need them off the books in the next 3 days. So no, well. We've spoken about it to death on the pod about we've told the world that we don't want the guy, so we can't ask for tens of millions.
No.
So somebody who we've clearly stated we don't want is Yanis Hagi, and I'll be honest, folks, these next few stories, this is where the pod will turn into a bit of an EastEnders episode. With all the drama and the scandal. So this is now officially a saga as far as I'm concerned. This is winning a saga territory. Actually, when this pod aired yesterday, one of our listeners was saying that Georges Hagi had just been quoted in the European papers, and he'd said Yanis isn't coming back to Romania now. If he does ever come back, it will be to Faro Crostana. Forget what Rangers say. It's what I say that counts. He has a contact with Rangers first, and what has happened with him at Rangers is a story. An ugly story from the people responsible. It's ugly. This is a player who went there when he was young, was our best player and got injured. He fought back, and what happened? He's training on his own, or whoever he's training with. But when something like this happens in Western Europe, we're told what claims do you have if you're from Romania. Excuse me, what would I know? I played at the highest level, even though I'm from Romania. At one point, I just said to them, shut up. He won't come here because he's proved he can be at Rangers. He was our best player. So we're going to go into what Yanis Hagi said later on, David, but initially on Georgie Hagi, fair enough, he's clearly frustrated that how his boy's been treated. He's a dad, right? That's fair enough. He's allowed to be frustrated. He kind of sounds like old man with a chip on his shoulder, talking about like the the perception of Western Europe and stuff. And I don't think he's really helping matters for his boy. What do you think?
I mean, I'm on record as saying Hagi Senior is like an absolute hero of mine. What a player! An absolute magician with a ball. But the persecution complex helps nobody. It's nothing to do with him being for Romania. It's nothing to do with his son being in Western Europe. The manager just doesn't seem to fancy him, which does, as I've said already, it does kind of frustrate me. Because I like Hagi, I like his attitude, I like his application, commitment, and all that. But the people that are speaking for him are not doing him any favours. That's his agent that's on record as saying stupid stuff. And now his dad's claiming persecution because he's Romanian. It's no helping anybody. I think the player himself, as I said yesterday regarding the agent, I think the player himself is probably like, oh, Dad, come on, man, shut up. But it's I don't know. I mean, Hagi himself has had a chance to speak and he said nothing negative. He never really has, but that's two people now that are kind of representing him, kind of speaking for him when he's perhaps not asked for it. As I say, Hagi Senior is frustrated, as you say. He's obviously wanting to see his son play at a good level, make the national team and all of that. But it's not because he's Romanian, not because his opinion doesn't matter, and it's nothing like that. It's simply the fact that for whatever reason, Clement just doesn't fancy him. I don't think the wage rise thing, that's going to be triggered. I don't think that's much of a factor. I think we're talking about a couple of grand every week. So I don't think that's a factor. I think the manager just simply wants him out for whatever reason. But that's that, and it's football, you know what I mean? The manager didn't sign him. The manager inherited him. If he doesn't want him, then that's that. But it's definitely nothing the soap opera conspiracy levels that we're reaching with his old man.
So let's go on to Giannis Hagi's comments. So last night he made a post on Instagram, and I'll read it out. He said, "I've been aware of the noise and speculation regarding my situation, my role and my contract in the club. I've loved playing for Rangers and the Irish fans since the moment I got here, and I want to make it clear I have never once asked to leave this football club. I will always make myself available, and there's always a way to navigate around my situation if there's a will on both sides, and that was communicated officially weeks ago by me and my team. I'm here, willing, and Rangers ready to help, work and fight for the club, team and manager." So, Davey, I'm reading this and I'm taking it as Giannis Hagi plans on going nowhere. So I get the manager doesn't fancy him for whatever reason. Where does that leave us come Monday then, if Giannis Hagi is still a Rangers player? Does he continue playing with the B team, or does he get recalled? Does that make the manager look bad? Where do we go?
I don't think the manager's going to buckle. It's a stance that I don't agree with in the slightest. As I said yesterday, so trying not to repeat myself, but if the manager doesn't want him and wants to sell him, then, play him, you know what I mean, and let teams be aware or that he's available and, what he can do, whatever, put him in the shop window, basically. I don't particularly want him to leave. That attitude that he's got there, it's night and day from his old man and his agent. He's obviously a mature young guy. He's obviously got a good head on his shoulders and he's willing to commit and, work hard. It's an attitude that's missing across the boards, both at Rangers and in football in general. So it saddens me that it looks like he'll never play for the first team again. But, I mean, if he doesn't leave come the close of the transfer window, it's going to be a bizarre situation where you've got a more than capable player. And as I said, not like a first-team pick and not a, mega important player, but a more than capable player playing in the B team and not coming anywhere near the first team. I don't think the manager's the type to cave in with anything. So it's unfortunate and it's an ugly situation. I feel for Hagi here because for once it's not the player, acting up. I do really feel for him, but he might just, whether he wants to leave or not, I think he might he might have to. You know what I mean? Whether he's all for it or not, because it doesn't seem to be any resolution at Rangers.
Aye, it does. If you're Giannis Hagi, I think he'll know that as well. But at the same time, he'll be wanting a decent offer and a decent move instead of just going anywhere. But just to echo the point I made yesterday, and I think the Scott Wright story that we opened with this morning really pays testament to this point. I can understand wanting a player to move on, but you need to recognise that they can still contribute in the meantime. The manager's clearly been happy and wanting Scott Wright to move on, but Scott Wright is featured so far this season. What's the difference between Scott Wright and Giannis Hagi? And we do, if he is still here, I think the manager will make life really difficult for himself if he doesn't include him in the squad. And I'm not saying he just plays him for the sake of playing him, but to get him in the January window, if we're struggling to play him now after he had a half-decent Euros for Romania and his stock is still fairly high, if we're struggling to sell him now, we're going to really struggle to sell him in January if he's been playing for the B team for 6 months. So I think that's something that we'll just need to persevere with.
It's a situation I must admit. I mean, I can have an opinion on it, but it's very hard to understand. It is very disappointing to see that he's basically flung his arms open to the club and asked them to at least speak to him, and it seems that there's just a wall of silence for Rangers as a whole, for the manager down, for club representatives, the board, whatever. He doesn't seem to be getting anything at all. The longer this goes on, if hypothetically speaking, if he's still here after Friday, the longer this goes on, that's going to be the first question the manager gets asked at every press conference, pre-match, post-match, midweek interviews. It's going to be the first question that gets asked every week. It's going to become a distraction. Also, if we go through a bad spell where we're, dropping points or not playing very well, grinding out results, and Hagi's not featuring, again, his name's going to come up. You're going to get some supporter unrest. You're going to get, again, intensification of the question itself, why you not playing him? He's there, he's available. It becomes an unwelcome distraction, and it's already bordering on a circus. So once it becomes a circus, you're looking at just a full-blown bloody mess. I mean, the only resolution is for him to leave, and I'm not happy saying that, but that's the only resolution. Rangers as a whole don't appear to be willing to back down in the slightest, and as I said, just to reiterate, it does sadden me because we're not from the outside looking in, we don't seem to be treating them very well.
Yeah, and the last point on it, if you had a fully firing Todd Cantwell or a Tom Lawrence with legs who were playing ahead of him, this situation wouldn't be as difficult. But when there is a gap in the team, and I'm not saying Hagi is the answer to all our problems, but he's a bit more of the answer than Tom Lawrence, in my opinion. I think there's only so much we can go for that. It'll be very interesting what happens in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
For one drama to another, then good old Dave King, who loves a wee interview with the Glasgow Times recently, was speaking to Chris Jack yesterday, and a couple of key points for his interview. So first of all, we actually spoke about these rumours on the pod last month when it came about, the takeover rumours from USA, an American consortium, when they were, I think the guy was speaking on the High Performance podcast or the Diary of a CEO podcast or something like that, and they said they were reviewing, or they put the feelers out for a bid to Rangers. Dave King says there's no truth whatsoever to that rumour that USA billionaire or anyone else for that matter has expressed interest in acquiring Rangers. So that puts that to bed, David. I think anytime a new investor, in inverted commas, is rumoured, then the fans start you know, there's two schools I thought. You know, one school I thought is look at 2012. We need people who have the club's best interest at heart. Other people say, look at now, we need people to invest money. So, if anything, is a good thing that this is that conversation is mooted.
Yeah, it could have rumbled on, but it's been nipped in the bud early, which can only be a good thing. I mean, due to financial fair play, the state of Scottish football, Rangers not being that profitable, the days of hoping for a sugar daddy are quite obviously out the window. Those days are long gone and they'll never happen. If a consortium who has no emotional attachment to the club, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be venture capitalists. They're going to want to hunt anything that's no nailed to the floor. They're going to want immediate profit. And for that to happen, fair enough, they need to invest. But in the long term, I mean, do they just, you know, after a couple of years, do they take their money and scarper and leave us with nothing? And, you know, there's too many negatives to suddenly think, oh, new investor, excellent, this is going to be amazing. Those days are gone, as I say. I'm glad it's been nipped in the bud because I could do with it another 2 months of arguing to and fro. You know, like in 17 paragraph blog pages, my take on the takeover and all that, and you're like, you know, none of that matters. It's been nipped in the bud, and that can only be good.
I know. We've got enough drama going about with a takeover
Exactly,
bid.
mate. We've got the rain drama with the Americans coming in.
I know. So the rest of Dave King's interview, well, I'm not going to go through the full interview, but the key point I want to get your thoughts on is the phase that the board are going through now. And Dave King said the club is going through a difficult phase that was largely self-inflicted and commenced with Douglas Park refusing to back Steven Gerrard's ambition to kick on to 55. Self-interest should never be put ahead of our club. I'm hoping that John Bennett turns things around. I know he will do everything in his power to do so. So pretty scathing for Dave King on Douglas Park. We knew for the tone of his previous interviews with Chris Jack over the last year or so, or 18 months, 2 years, that there was a bit of animosity there, but this is just outright there in black and white. This is a difficult one, how I put across my feelings, because I 1,000,000% agree with Dave King here that we should have backed Gerrard more after 55. That famous interview of fix your roof when the sun is shining. We should have done it. We didn't do it. Dave King's right. At the same time, I don't really see what benefit we're getting for Dave King just going over this. So yes, he is still the majority shareholder. He says he doesn't want to come back to Rangers. So what is he doing? I think if he wants real change, he has the ability to do so by going back into the boardroom. If he doesn't want real change, what's he gaining, and what are we gaining from these interviews other than just, I don't know, more animosity? Like John Bennett is in place now. I have been kind of frustrated with Dave King's interviews over the last year. I don't know, and I'll forever thank him and I'll forever be grateful what he done for the club, but I don't really see his angle here, David.
First and foremost, I've always said I'm not a fan of the washing dirty linen in public, as they say. I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't like it. On this occasion, I can make a slight exception simply because there is unrest aimed at the board, and half the support are saying, "Oh, you are ungrateful. You forget yourselves. You forget where we've been. You forget what the board have done." And the other half are saying, "Well, they had the chance to back Gerrard and they didn't. That's the board's fault." No, it's not. It is. So it's all that back and forth. So Dave King's added a bit of legitimacy to the naysayers. So that's kind of gave them a bit of, it's gave their argument a bit of credibility, if you like. I think maybe it had to be said, but not in such a direct fashion. To name Douglas Park specifically, I mean that seems to suggest there's a kind of a bit of an ego contest going on between them. that if it escalates, I mean, you're just looking at a distraction via, what will turn into some sort of willy waving contest. It's very much a disappointment that it's the public toing and froing is still happening. But I think what he said is right. I'm not saying, I'm not criticising what he said, but the fact that he's done it so publicly in a local newspaper is kind of. I mean, he's got his own agenda, but what that agenda is, I have no clue. I don't know if he just misses the involvement and wants to wants to still be relevant or something. I really don't know. But as you say, I have nothing bad to say about him personally. I'm grateful for everything he's done for the club, and that will never change. But I do wish that these things would be settled privately. As I say, I'm willing to make an exception because he has kind of what you would call the elephant in the room at board level, that we should have backed Gerrard and didn't. He's said it publicly, but whether he should have named Park specifically is perhaps a different matter. At least he's gave some sort of vote of confidence to John Bennett, because John Bennett's not had many of those recently. So let's take a positive for that. But yeah, it's I hope it doesn't turn into a saga. Very much what we were saying about the Hagi thing. It's more than capable of becoming something that it doesn't need to. So hopefully he's nipped in the bud the consortium thing. Excellent. He's expressed what a lot of fans think about Douglas Park, Gerrard season. And yeah, hopefully now we move on and it doesn't become a to and fro extravaganza free for all.
But that's my worry, because I think we're getting into the saga stage now, because how many interviews has he done over the last year? And it's kind of along these lines. So this has been the most explicit one. But just to confirm, I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said in there.
Yes.
And if you offered me the chance for Dave King to return to the board, I would bite your hand off. But my frustration is what is the agenda with going out to the Evening Times or the Rangers Review? I think he could have so much more influence, so much more power with doing things a different way. I don't really get the angle. So I've no issue with Dave King or what he's saying. It's just, how he goes about it. It's I think if you're a shareholder and you want involved and be involved, and I don't think it'd be too difficult for him to be back involved again. But maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he is struggling to get back into the boardroom, and this is him trying to put pressure on the board. I don't know.
I think as well he goes to the Evening Times because they won't question him too much. I mean, no disrespect to Chris Jack, but Dave King's a big scalp for him to get, you know what I mean? So he's obviously just going to run with anything Dave King says. So Dave King sees that as, his kind of platform, whereas maybe if he'd done an interview with, I don't know, the actual Times or even one of the tabloids, one of the national tabloids, he might get grilled more, which both he doesn't want and, he'll try and avoid. Plus, the Daily Record or the Sun, whoever, or Herald, whatever, they probably won't be as willing to, just run with what he says. So I think he's found a niche with the Evening Times and Chris Jack, and, it's mutually beneficial. But yeah, he's yet to be properly challenged, I think, or properly questioned on what he would do differently, what his motives are, what the agenda is here, what his future plans are, does he want back involved, etc., etc. He's basically just releasing statements in the Evening Times or printing them for him, you know what I mean? It's like a free leaflet service, if you like. So yeah, I can see why, but it's disappointing that once again there's pot shots at board level, when really they should be a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see if they do become a thing of the past. I won't hold my breath.
Neither will I.
The last story over there, and then let's turn it back to on-field matters. And John Beaton has been confirmed as a ref for this weekend's game at Parkhead. So he'll be the man in charge, and he'll be assisted by Daniel McFarlane and Jonathan Bell on who'll be running the line. Andrew Dallas will be in the VAR room, assisted by Graham Stewart. So it's always interesting when you see the referees announced, because you're really hoping for the best of the bad bunch. I don't know, maybe Nick Walsh is maybe one of the better ones, but I'm struggling to think who is like the top referee. I'm comfortable that John Beaton isn't the best for an Old Firm game, and he's not the worst referee, but he doesn't handle the pressure of the big environment well. And if I'm being fair, David, I think he doesn't handle pressure from both sides, but given the fact it's a Parkhead, there's no away fans, he's really have a stinker on Sunday, I think.
Aye. It wasn't always the case. I think I've never said, oh, he's a great ref, he's he's best in the business or whatever, but he's one of the better of, he's one of the lesser of a bunch of evils, if you like. Slightly better out of a bad bunch. I think when he was publicly called out by Rogers, I think that he caved in after that, especially. But before that, his house was attacked, and he was claimed to be in the Orange Order and the Masons, and he drank in Rangers pubs. I mean, I know for a fact that he's a Motherwell fan. He's not a Rangers fan, he is an actual Motherwell fan. If he happens to drink in a pub in Bells Hill that's got a Rangers supporters club, then that's up to him. But the stuff that was said about him, I would be lying if I said I didn't crumble after all that, you know what I mean? So, but again, I don't choose to be a referee. So yeah, I think he's not the worst that we've got, but yeah, I think no away fans, 100% home support, who generally hate him anyway. I think we're looking at him not having the best of games, if I'm to put it politely.
Yeah, I know, but what can you do? He's previously on the pod, when we've had the referees announced, we've probably got ourselves a wee bit up in arms. But I'm kind of getting to the point. It's the best of, not even the best of a bad bunch. There's no great option. There's just the least shite option that we hope for. John Beaton isn't that, but we just need to hope the Rangers do enough to make sure the referee doesn't factor. I'm a big believer in the referee can only impact so much. What the two teams do footballing wise will ultimately be the telltale. And the way Rangers have been playing, I think we've got bigger issues that we need to address before the referee on Sunday, personally.
Definitely. The referee's always going to be a concern. You're never going to get, certainly not both sides, but you're never going to get our support as a whole saying, oh, that's a good choice. I'm happy with that. Nobody's ever happy with the referee. The referee's either, a rabid Tim or a dyed-in-the-wool Orangeman, you know what I mean? It's just how the rivalry works in Glasgow. But it's at the same time, the standard of refereeing cannot be argued with. It's not good. It's not even decent. But I suppose there is a few that are better than the rest, and I suppose Beaton is, up there with kind of the slightly less worst. So yeah, it remains to be seen how it pans out. But I totally agree with you in the fact that when it comes to on-pitch matters, we've got our own team to think of rather than the referee in the middle.
Just a final point to the listeners. Always love your comments coming in. It's been good to see the mix of folk like both agreeing ways and disagreeing ways over the last few days. Like when we've been speaking about the manager on Hagi, what we do with Cantwell, just various things. We always get opinions on the referees. So instead of letting us know if John Beaton's good, bad, and different, let us know in the comments. I'm genuinely interested what ref you would have picked for Sunday. I struggle to think of somebody who's a clear-cut choice for the big game. And I think that makes the that would make the referee conversation easier of saying, oh, why is John Beaton got it and not X-ref here? So listeners, generally interested if, we're probably all going to be unhappy with John Beaton, but who would you have put in? Let us know in the comments, because I'm genuinely interested to know. But Davey, I think that'll bring us to a close for today. That's one of the longer Daily News ones we've got, but we had a lot to get through, but I enjoyed it. That feeling.
Aye, that was some good topics covered there. Just to reiterate, as you say, I always enjoy the comments both on the live shows and on the recordings, but I am actually intrigued as to if there's anybody out there that has a preferred referee, or if, like us, it's just at least he's no the worst sort of thing. Because I'm genuinely struggling. So when I look at the comments, obviously you get a laugh, you get, debate and stuff. But on this case, I'm actually looking for like information, because I genuinely can't think of a referee that I want to referee any of their games, never mind a bloody Old Firm. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But no, it's been great this morning. So thank you again, buddy.
No, thank you, mate. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Let us know what you think in the comments. And we'll be back with you again tomorrow morning. So until then, take care.